Hi, I'm Cliff, and this is my garage. And today, we're changing the brake pads on the Hummer. And man, does it need it. Hey, welcome back to the garage. And if this is your first time joining me, thanks for dropping by. So this is my 2007 Hummer H3X, and it is badly in need of some new brake pads. It's a fairly simple job. In fact, after watching this video, it'll probably take you less time to change the pads than it does just to jack the car up and take the wheel off. So let's get started. Before we get started, this is a grubby, nasty, dirty job. There's going to be brake dust everywhere. You really want to get yourself a nice pair of gloves. Now, I love these pug gloves. I'll give you a link to these in the description down below the video. They are fantastic. They fit really well. You don't lose your sensation of touch because they're really fairly thin, yet they're tough. The rubber coating makes them non-slip, but the back is ventilated so your hands don't get overly hot. They're fantastic, and what's really great is they are dirt cheap. I mean, these things are literally like $1 a pair, and they last forever. I use them working on the car, working around the house. My wife uses them gardening. Yeah, go check these out. If you want a pair of gloves for pretty much anything around the house, this is the way to go. Some basic brake anatomy. Right here we have the brake caliper system. This is what makes your car stop. This is the hydraulic line coming in, and when you press on the brake, it pushes hydraulic fluid here into the caliper system. Okay. You see here, this is the rotor. This is the part that's turning with your wheel. So as you're cruising along, this thing is spinning through here, no problems. When you press on the brake, there are 4 pistons here. Other brakes may have 6 or even 8 pistons on larger or high performance cars. These pistons, when you push that hydraulic fluid in, the pressure pushes the pistons in, which pushes on the brake pads, which are right here and here. That squeezes the pads onto the rotor and makes the car stop. Now, the surface of these pads is a wear item. And let me show you a new pair of pads. This is a new pair of brake pads. This is the wear surface. You can see it's pretty thick. You can see that these are not pretty thick. These are way beyond the point where they should have been replaced. I have not been a good boy on this one. These probably 15,000 miles ago, I should have replaced these, and I just never got around to it. But today's the day. Now, you don't want to let it get this far, and you don't want to let it get any further, because what happens is when this completely wears out, now you're down to the metal backing, and when this starts rubbing on it, it will tear your rotor up. It'll chew it down in no time. And now, instead of replacing a $15 or $20 pair of pads, you're replacing a $100 rotor and the pads. So don't do this. This is not a good thing. All right, first tool you're going to want is a good pair of needle nose pliers. We're going to pull a couple of pins right here and here, and they just pop or pry. They just pry right off. Get yourself a little bin or something to keep your parts handy. And probably a better place to put them than trying to balance it on there. All right, so our next step is to remove the actual pins themselves that are holding the brake pads in. Just got to, wow, that came out easy. Just, usually those are a lot harder to remove. You might have to get a punch and knock through a bit, or grab with a pair of pliers. Those came out real easy. Sometimes you buy brake pads, it'll come with new pins and new springs and everything. I just got the pads, so I'm going to be reusing these pins. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and I'm going to clean these up on the wire wheel so they'll be nice and cleaned up and go in easily. There we go. That looks a lot nicer. Now let's remove this spring. The spring curls up and it's hooked into the holes in these little ears that are poking up. Be careful because this thing can go flying if you're not careful. And kind of take note of the way this thing is. The spring goes down in the back and then comes back out the front, so keep that in mind. This is why you really need to do one side completely before you do the other side. That way you've got the other side as it's still assembled as a reference to see exactly how things are supposed to go back together. All right, now time to remove the pads. As I was saying, the old pads, even if you haven't let them go ridiculously far like I have, the old pads are much thinner than the new ones. So we need to back off the pistons enough, not only to get the old pads out, but to get the new, much thicker pads back in. There's a couple different ways to do this. One, you can just take and get a screwdriver in here and kind of pry the pistons back. See how they're slowly squeezing back as you get more and more. Now you want to do this with the pad in, because if you wait till later to try and compress these pistons, you're going to find that when you squeeze one in, the other one pops out. So doing them both right now at once is the way to go. Just squash them all the way back. And the pad comes right out. Keep this little metal backing plate here. Also notice the way this is shaped. This has kind of a flat area here, and it has this thing right here, which is a wear indicator. This is supposed to rub on the rotor and make a squealing noise when the pad is worn out too much. That, drop the screwdriver. That indicator looks kind of, well, I guess there's more left of the pad than I thought. Still, yeah, the groove is still there. All right, these aren't as bad as I thought they were. Yeah, okay. I'm not as bad of a boy as I thought. These aren't completely worn out like I was thinking they were. They were just about to hit the wear sensor though. You can see this groove that goes in here. Let me show you the old pad. Let me show you the new pad. See how deep that groove is? When the pads are, you can see, if you get a flashlight, you can see the groove. And when the groove is gone, it's time to replace the pad. All right, we put this thing, now look here at this one. This has these big ears poking up, and it doesn't have the wear sensor. This is the outside pad. Here we go. This is the new inside pad. We take, I don't really know what this is. I think it's some kind of anti-vibration pad. Not sure. We just put that back on. Make sure, sometimes these little ears are not quite bent correctly and the holes don't line up. So make sure that if they're not quite lined up right, just take a hammer and kind of tap on them some, and it'll usually adjust and make them fit properly where the holes are just perfectly lined up. Now the problem you got with the pistons popping out, if you just do one, they go like this. You have the same problem side to side. So I like to put one pad in first, then work on replacing the other pad. All right. You can see the curvature of the pad. So that's the side that goes in first. And this may be kind of a tight fit. You got to wiggle it, but there. There we go. One pad in. Now let me show you the other way to squeeze these pistons. If you don't own a honker-sized adjustable wrench, you need to buy yourself a honker-sized adjustable wrench because these things come in handy a lot. We just adjust the jaws out, grab hold of it, and squeeze the pistons back. Now there are fancy brake caliper clamps or something. I forget exactly what they're called. That'll do this job, but that's a single-use, single-purpose tool. I hate spending money on single-purpose tools. I prefer to buy something I use in a lot of different situations. Okay, that seems to be pushed all the way back. Pull the old pad. All right. These on. Hole alignment looks good. Curvy bit to the end, toward the hub, and well, there we go. It takes a little bit of finagling to get these full-size, brand new pads back in. There we go. Look at that. All right, nice shiny new pad. Let's start putting it back together. Run the top pin first. In this case, we've got to pull the brake pad up a little bit. It's gone a little too far in. Wow, what's going on here? There, okay. On the other one, remember we said that it starts here, the spring starts at the top, and it goes to the back of the pin first. So this is the orientation we need. This would be coming to the front. We don't want that. That's not the way it works. Just squeeze this into position there. Pair of needle nose pliers. Makes quick work of this. And run the pin through. Next we put back on the little pins. Quite honestly, I'm not sure how these stay on, but they do. And just the straight part goes into the pin. The curvy part just kind of clamps down onto the pin. Okay. Turn the pin so we can see the hole. And there we go. We are done. The final step here, before you button everything up, is to get into the car, push on the brake pedal. You don't have to turn the car on. Just push on the pedal and make sure that these gaps close up. Now you probably have to pump on it several times because you pushed these pistons out and pushed a lot of the fluid back to the reservoir, and it'll take several pumps on the brake pedal to get the fluid back down into the system. All right, let's see that in action. So there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's all pumped up now. And as you can see, the spaces have all closed up. It clamped back down on the rotor. That's exactly what we want to see. Okay guys, that's it. Like I said, quick and easy job. Any of you can do this, even if you don't have a giant honking pair of adjustable pliers. Start to finish, just 10 minutes tops if I weren't stopping to explain everything along the way. Okay, that's it for today. Hey, go down there, find that thumbs up button, give us a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I do videos on all kinds of stuff. Woodworking, furniture building, auto repair, garden stuff, whatever it is that I'm working on here around the house, that's what I'm doing videos on. And when you subscribe, go find that little bell icon, click on that so that it has the little lines around it. That's the notification bell. That way, YouTube will let you know every time I post a new video from here in Cliff's Garage. I'll see you next time.